Receiver 2 is a mindfulness training program by Wolfire Games, the developers of Overgrowth and the original organizers of Humble Bundle. Remember those? With a particular emphasis on firearm safety and handgun handling, Receiver 2 trains the player to be perfectly aware of their surroundings. Danger could hide behind any corner of the endless corridors comprised of warehouses, rooftops, apartments, and a gross old arcade. Progression is tied to collectible cassette tapes. By gathering enough of them, you'll progress deeper into the dream, which spawns you in another series of identical corridors with greater threats and a new gun. Enemies never really become more complex than drones or turrets, and if one spots you, you're probably already dead. The player character is made of cardboard, literally, so any damage source has a chance to kill. You can just barely survive a fall your height in spite of the decent climbing mechanic, and it still leaves you limping for a while, so it might end up getting you killed anyways. Having a round in the chamber of most guns makes them vulnerable to negligent discharge if you handle them roughly, as in, you don't hold tab long enough while drawing or stowing. Your fragility is the backbone of Receiver 2's atmosphere. It brings you into the mindset of handling a loaded firearm around other loaded firearms. One small mistake will kill you. I'm not too proud to admit I cheated at this game. The debug menu features a god mode and item x-ray, which I used to make it to the final level of the dreaming and beat the game. I don't really feel too bad about it. They left the debug menu in the game for a reason. There's a lot I wouldn't have seen without it. Normally if I have to cheat to beat a game, I wouldn't talk about it at all, especially when Receiver 2's campaign doesn't have that much going for it besides the gun simulation. Aside from standing behind doorways and waiting to hear a beep or see a light, the only thing to do is listen to cassette tapes. A lot of them grandstand about some weird cult shit, which didn't really interest me at all. I am a disaffected white 20-something, but until I can confirm they got an actual schizo to write the Receiver's manifesto and they aren't just using the aesthetic to steal valor from God's real soldiers, they're not radicalizing me. Receiver 2 would be greatly improved if all of the tapes were about the author's insatiable lust for Norbert Beaver. They feature a lot of non-specific everything is fucked and you're the only one who's noticed type shit without any real political backbone, left or right. Say what you will about the tenets of anarcho-primitivism, at least it's an ethos. There are a bunch of notes you can find that probably paint a solid story, but I was clocked out for it. I'm just here to handle a 1911. The stuff I liked was the historical stuff about each handgun. There's the story of how Colt's founder never got to see the SAA because his wife oversaw its production following his death. How Sig got around Swiss law by purchasing the German company Sauer to export weapons. I even like the joke about the Deagle being made special just for Shaq to have a sidearm. They're worth listening to when you pick one up. A lot of them have valuable advice for handling firearms in-game, and if they mention a technique, there's a good chance you can actually do it. I tried slip hammering the SAA and it works, but it seems less accurate than firing normally. Maybe it's on me. So why am I reviewing a roguelike I don't like? Because a year after release, Receiver 2 got an update that added a pair of shooting ranges to the game, each with their own challenges and a bunch of small secrets. You still start with a dinky little pea shooter that stovepipes more often than not, but by completing challenges you'll unlock more firearms to test your gun metal. I had a great time developing a better idea of how each gun functions, and even though most of them share a few mechanics, each has its own feel that comes through in the gameplay. Getting to the last target of 13, loading the SAA with one round, and spinning the cylinder enough so it's the next round the hammer strikes makes me feel like a god. You have to get used to leading shots on double action triggers, unload the Glock properly before stowing and drawing it, lock slides quickly to clear double feeds, you might even learn to count. 9mm like the Sig Sauer and the Glock have fuck huge mags, which is nice on the surface, but it's easier to lose count of rounds fired than a 1911 that only holds 7 and 1 in the chamber. The Colt Detective has a 3-inch short gap between its sights, so long-range fire takes a long time to feel out, and even then it might be more down to luck than skill. Firearm enjoyers and lowercase g gamers might be disappointed by the selection of guns. There's only one full auto, they're all handguns, there's no Model 6 Unica, but the focus on iconic popular handguns smallens the potential gap between the player's starting skill and the skill floor, and most of the firearms don't appreciate when you unlock more options, especially since the Detective and the SAA are the two of the last ones you get. The rewards for demonstrating proficiency are handguns which require more from players, not less. I think the SAA is a great reward that doubles as the game's greatest test of player skill. It's the only revolver without a swinging cylinder, so rounds have to be inserted very deliberately, compared to other revolvers which use the same inputs of E, V, ZZZ, ZZZ, R. To be clear, the guns all function identically regardless of game mode, but the self-guided, fast-paced nature of the drills in the compound meant I got a better feel of each gun very quickly, and being able to go back and forth with which ones I handled meant I understood their differences better too. The roguelike is still good. It accomplishes what it wants to, but the dedication to realism and methodology means it's not as fun as it could be. This is the point, of course. Receiver 2 is classically boring, but it tries to spin it as a meditative, immersive experience. Almost every tape about a gun features a safety tip or tries to warn about doing stupid shit like stowing a gun in your waistband against the small of your back. The imagery of like a hammer on an anvil made me feel sick. I don't make reviews to tell devs their own business. Every game's dev cycle is a series of decisions that have to be made. And if these are the decisions that Wolfire's team made to make Receiver 2 feel exactly how they wanted, then my only criticisms are really just whining that they didn't make it the way I like. As a holistic experience, Receiver 2 achieves exactly what it wants at the expense of players who won't appreciate it, which is exactly how games should be. It's good to have some friction in your game design. An experience without any difficulty is just boring. It washes over you and then it ends, like a golden shower, but it stinks worse. With friction comes an opportunity for skill to develop, for a relationship to grow between player and game. A persistent player is rewarded with knowledge of the game's expectations and the skill to match or exceed them, and that junction is where fun lives. Things that are hard are fun to do because it's fun to do things that are hard. And if I don't like the process of closing the skill gap, I can just play a different game. Probably Devil May Cry.